What up, YouTube? My name is Rizil, and I'd like to welcome you back to my reaction channel. Sorry I couldn't drop this reaction yesterday. My editing software and stuff, a lot of stuff got in the way of things, and basically my shit didn't want to save, bro. And by the time I was able to save everything and like finalize everything and upload yesterday's what you call the Billboard compilation, it was late, and it is what it is, and I'm trying my best, and I'm about to go for the second one that I was supposed to do yesterday, which is the George Carlin reaction that I've been meaning to do for a while now. It's been at the back of my mind, but you know, suggestions and like shots that I gotta take in terms of this reaction thing, like those two factors combined equal a waiting list for a lot of stuff that I need to do before I get to even the things that I want to do that are on that list. You know what I'm saying? But hey, nevertheless, we are back, and I'm going to be reacting to "Religion Is Bullshit" by George Carlin, which honestly it's gonna hit a little bit like close to home, because before, when I first reacted to George Carlin, I was Switzerland. Basically, I was in the middle. You know, I was just approaching it with a fresh mind. I didn't know what he was really gonna. I think I did know what he was gonna talk about. You know, the title and shit. Um, but I was pretty much in the middle and like, oh, he's discussing something. Let's see what he has to say about it, and it was truly profound. So we're just gonna take a look at what he has to say in terms of religion is bullshit, and me as a Christian, um, I'm gonna I'm gonna make commentary along the way. Let's see what he has to say, because some parts of religion are truly bullshit. I'll tell you for a fact. But other parts of religion, hey man, there's some merit to it. Let's get to it.
But in the bullshit department, a businessman can't hold a candle to a clergyman. Because I gotta tell you the truth, folks. I gotta tell you the truth. When it comes to bullshit, big time, major league bullshit, you have to stand in awe of the all-time champion of false promises and exaggerated claims, religion. No contest. No contest. Religion easily has the greatest bullshit story ever told. Think about it. Religion has actually convinced people that there's an invisible man living in the sky who watches everything you do every minute of every day. And the invisible man has a special list of 10 things he does not want you to do. And if you do any of these 10 things, he has a special place full of fire and smoke and burning and torture and anguish, where he will send you to live and suffer and burn and choke and scream and cry forever and ever till the end of time. But he loves you.
Let me start from the top. Let me start from the top, because I think I'm gonna forget if I start from the bottom in terms of the end, in terms of like hell and stuff. Okay, in terms of the existence of God, honestly speaking, I've never thought it was as black and white as the Bible thing makes it out to be. Um, I think personally, I'm not some scientist or something, but I think even the Big Bang theory is a little bit flimsy. I do believe in terms of like multiple like stories and stuff. I don't think human beings, no matter our creativity, just come up with these stories out of nowhere. I do believe there's something behind these stories, and multiple religions and mythologies do tell of like beings, not non-human beings, very evolved beings that contributed to the existence of our earth, existence of the creation of like basic things here and there. So one, uh like, even though people say man and refer to God as this type of male or whatever it is, me, I am of the firm belief that God, he's an alien. God is an alien. Like, don't let this whole thing of like the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit and all those all those concepts are there to help, what you call, simplify things for people who can't think. But honestly, if you look at the text, this dude is an alien. If you look at Greek mythology, they're aliens. They're not even this world. Like, they created this, But in terms of where they came from, they didn't come from this. They just pulled up and created this out of nowhere. So one, God is an God is an alien, and what you call two, in terms of like the commandments, even the 10 Commandments. I've recently started reading Exodus again as I try and complete the Bible. The 10 Commandments, if you really look at them, if you don't just look at things from like religious eyes, because honestly speaking, I've had this conversation with my mother, um, and different like Christians and stuff in terms of like discussions too. Whoever will listen to me and won't be like a prick, like you see, like me when I'm honestly like paying attention to what he's saying and then giving my commentary and really trying to like talk it out and really trying to break it down. Um, if you look at the commandments itself, honestly, if you truly look at them, it's not something of, oh, I feel it in my spirit, oh, it's so holy. It's like basic rules to life that honestly they're there for a reason. Like when God says like don't be promiscuous, don't sleep around, don't take it too far. Things like that. That's the first thing that like pops in my things like that, it's there for a reason. We saw what happened when we managed to create birth control, and then there was this whole wave of like sexual freedom and all of that in the past. We saw what happens. HIV/AIDS popped out of nowhere. It never existed before, but suddenly HIV/AIDS now exists, and it's prowling around, waiting for its next victim, especially here in Africa. Not especially here in Africa. Hey, hey, but you know what I mean. So basically, like some of those rules, if you really look at them, they just make sense. It's not something of your spirit. If you don't do this, your spirit. No, it's like me. It's like whatever this supreme being has put over here that has contributed to the creation of our environments and whatnot. He's telling you don't do 1, 2, 3, 4 because dummy. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is gonna fucking happen. Are you stupid? Just do what I say. So basically that's that. And in terms of the concept of hell, hey man, there's a lot of fucked up human beings out there, man. And if their souls can't go into the afterlife or whatever thing that's supposed to take out, so whatever it is, I'm still need to learn and broaden my horizons in terms of my knowledge. But whatever it is that exists out there that's supposed to host our souls and whatnot, if it rejects like these types of souls or these type of like spirits or whatever because it's corrupted, then fuck it, toss it aside to whatever concept of hell or whatever it is. In multiple versions of hell, it's not just like a pit of flames. Multiple versions of hell, it's just like a continuous like infinite existence in something that you're uncomfortable with, and you get tortured with that forevermore. So yeah, that's that. I'm sorry for taking so long to explain or give my viewpoint.
He loves you and he needs money. He always needs money. He's all powerful, all perfect, all knowing, and all wise. Somehow, just can't handle money. Religion takes in billions of dollars. They pay no.
I'm sorry for pausing it again after talking for long, but in terms of that, the tithing and the offering type of thing that they're saying, like he needs. Yes, it can be like that for people who, you see, our religion, especially like, let me talk about mine, Christianity. There's this thing that they do where we are so staunch and so immovable and so like one lane and one like tunnel vision with our views. We put off people and we reject and we like what you call, we make people feel uncomfortable to the point where they feel they need to like be rivals to us or like like shun us or make fun of us, like how George Carlin is being, because of ridiculous shit like this. The concept of when Jesus said like people should offer like tithes and offerings, and when he spoke about it, was the concept of being generous. It's the concept of like investment basically. It's like if you put into the world, it will put in back to you. It takes money to make money basically. It's like basic investments, not just investment of like business, but investment in terms of humankind. If you invest in humankind, if you invest in your brothers and sisters, if you invest in some way and are generous and are not like stingy and greedy, and greed is evil. Greed is one of the many sins. If you don't do that, things, if you don't like be greedy and stuff, good things will happen to you and like things will pay off. We do see it. Not everyone who like puts into the world is cursed. Some people, they're unlucky, and honestly, or maybe they put into the wrong people. It's like loving someone who's abusive. You can't put into people who are abusive. You have to know what to put into, but you do have to be generous. That is the concept of offering and tithes. You should not at all. Whoever is new to Christianity or whatever was like maybe is uncomfortable with Christianity, if you ever want to try it out, you should never ever be reeled into, oh, you must offer tithes. If you don't do give offering and tithes, God will punish you and shame you. Fuck, like, whatever pastor that says that to you, fuck that pastor, okay? Fuck him or her or whatever. That's from me, a Christian. I am a Christian.
Taxes, and they always need a little more. Now, you talk about a good bullshit story. Holy shit. Thank you. But, thank you very much. But I want you to know something. This is sincere. I want you to know, when it comes to believing in God, I really tried. I really tried. I tried to believe that there is a God who created each of us in his own image and likeness, loves us very much, and keeps a close eye on things. I really tried to believe that, but I gotta tell you, the longer you live, the more you look around, the more you realize something is fucked up. Something is wrong here. War, disease, death, destruction, hunger, filth, poverty, torture, crime, corruption, and the ice capades. Something is definitely wrong. This is not good work. If this is the best God can do, I am not impressed. Results like these do not belong on the resume of a supreme being.
Okay, that's another thing. My take as a Christian in terms of what he just said. Honestly speaking, I've always said this. We can't blame God for our own actions. You know what I'm saying? Like in the Bible, it'll say like, okay, God did 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in terms of like correcting things, but close to the end, I don't know how true this is. I mostly take like the lessons the Bible can teach us more than the actual stories, because stories can be flimsy, especially as they pass down from generation to generation. God sort of retracted from sticking his nose into human business and let us do whatever the hell we want. Before he would pacify us a little bit in terms of the stories of the Bible, but then he sort of retracted and let us do our own thing. So basically, after basically like the existence of Jesus, and then the way the apostles, like what you call the story of the apostles, God really just sat back and like maybe did like he did like maybe like honestly 10 to 20% of what he used to do. Before he'd stick his nose in a lot, he'd like scold. But there's only so like imagine you maybe if you're a parent right now having to tell your children over and over again, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, and they keep doing it. At some point, I honestly believe he just got sick and tired of us, bro. He can't send another fucking flood, etc., etc. No, however, whatever you wanna believe in that story, and he left us to our own devices, and us to our own devices. Honestly speaking, no matter what potential for good we have, we also have a great potential for evil. Like you see me right now, I can be courteous, I can be whatever, whatever, but I go through a lot of shit and I have to contain a lot of shit in me that's honestly very, very dark and very, very, you know what I'm saying? So, in terms of this, it's like, how can you say, this is not a good resume? Like, God will be looking at you honestly in terms of, please don't don't feel like I'm ridiculous. But God, let's pretend God is real. Imagine you just chilling like as God, and then you see war, you see people being like maybe racist to each other, you see people raping each other, you see people doing all of this, and you took no part of it at all. You took no part. You see us creating nukes. You see us, like literally committing genocide against each other, taking each other's land, taking each other's wives, taking each other's children, doing all this shit. And you just sitting back over here, and then one day you see a comedian down on stage, or a social commentator, or people on whatever it is. You see people like, and the one thing they say is, "This is God's fault. How could God let this happen? How could nigga? It's you. It's you. It's you. I'm doing nothing. I tried my best. Floods, plagues. I told you, don't do this. Don't you didn't listen to me. And as your parent, bro, I'm sick and tired of you, bro. Like I love you, but I'm sick and tired. When parents say like, "Oh, I love my kids so much," but Fuck, I dislike my kids. I hear that all the time. Even me, I know my parents, like, they love me, one, two, three, four. But my father, me and my father, if we weren't related, we would not get along. I wouldn't even want to be around that nigga, and I doubt he'd want to be around me. Fuck him. I love you, dad, but fuck you. And my mom, she loves me with all her heart. She loved me till the day she, like, till her end. She's just that type of person. But if I wasn't her son, bro, honestly, I'm not the best person or the best son or whatever. I don't think she'd really hang out with me that much. No, she wouldn't hang out with me at all. We totally opposites. You get what I'm saying? It's like, I love you, but fuck you. You people are a bunch of fucking idiots, bro. Like, I'm tired of talking to you. Do what you want. Exactly. It's not God, guys. It's us. It's you. It's you.
This is the kind of shit you'd expect from an office temp with a bad attitude. And just between you and me, in any decently run universe, this guy would have been out on his all-powerful ass a long time ago. And by the way, I say this guy because I firmly believe, looking at these results, that if there is a God, it has to be a man. No woman could or would ever fuck things up like this.
Sorry for pausing again, but again, God, he's not human. These concepts are here to make us, like, understand better in terms of creator, but God is not human. So how can we be sure God is a male or a female? God is a being. He just exists. In terms of LGBTQ terms, God is non-binary or whatever. God, he doesn't fuck. He doesn't do any of these things, bro. He's not a human. So already this shit is, hey, but hey, it's funny.
If there is a God, if there is, I think most reasonable people might agree that he's at least incompetent and maybe, just maybe, doesn't give a shit. Doesn't give a shit, which I admire in a person and which would explain a lot of these bad results. So rather than be just another mindless religious robot, mindlessly and aimlessly and blindly believing that all of this is in the hands of some spooky, incompetent father figure who doesn't give a shit, I decided to look around for something else to worship, something I could really count on. And immediately, I thought of the sun. Happened like that. Overnight, I became a sun worshiper. Well, not overnight. You can't see the sun at night. First thing the next morning, I became a sun worshiper. Several reasons. First of all, I can see the sun, okay? Yeah. Unlike some other gods I could mention, I can actually see the sun. I'm big on that. If I can see something, I don't know, kind of helps the credibility along, So every day I can see the sun as it gives me everything I need: heat, light, food, flowers in the park, reflections on the lake, an occasional skin cancer, but hey, at least there are no crucifixions, and we're not setting people on fire simply because they don't agree with us. Sun worship is fairly simple. There's no mystery, no miracles, no pageantry, no one asks for money, there are no songs to learn, and we don't have a special building where we all gather once a week to compare clothing. And the best thing about the sun, it never tells me I'm unworthy. It doesn't tell me I'm a bad person who needs to be saved. Hasn't said an unkind word. Treats me fine. So I worship the sun. But I don't pray to the sun. Know why? I wouldn't presume on our friendship. It's not polite. I've often thought people treat God rather rudely, don't you? Asking trillions and trillions of prayers every day, asking and pleading and begging for favors, do this, give me that, I need a new car, I want a better job. And most of this praying takes place on Sunday, his day off. It's not nice, and it's no way to treat a friend. But people do pray, and they pray for a lot of different things. Your sister needs an operation on her crotch. Your brother was arrested for defecating in a mall. But most of all, you'd really like to fuck that hot little redhead down at the convenience store. The one with the eye patch and the...
I've done that shit. It's never fucking worked out. Like everything else in terms of things I've prayed for, it's either like I haven't gotten it and it's still like worked out in the end in terms of I've been unusually lucky and saved, which has made me believe honestly there is a God. Because bro, trust me, I've been. It's even past luck. Trust me. But in terms of things that have never worked out, is praying for women. You know when you like fucking with a girl, and then you like, oh God, I pray, oh please let it work out. Or I pray for her and I pray for this. You know, because my parents used to say, they prayed for each other before they met each other and got married. Surprised they're divorced now. So that didn't exactly work, did it? Did it? Man, my mom sees this one day, it's gonna be crazy, but it didn't work, did it? But yeah, man, it's never worked out in terms of praying. Like I pray for like a chick that I'm fucking with, and then like that situationship or relationship will end so fast. But then like shit I don't pray for and like maybe try to avoid, I'll get it like immediately in terms of like the woman department. And then it'll be to a point where I'm like uncomfortable and I'm like, man, I just want to fucking leave. Like my last relationship, I didn't pray for it at all. It just happened. And I literally, she was giving me everything, and all I wanted to do was just to fucking leave. But the relationships I do pray for with the bad bitches and the ones with the big tits and the big ass and the long hair and shit, that shit never works out. So
Clubfoot, huh? Do you pray for that? I think you'd have to. And I say, fine, pray for anything you want, pray for anything, but what about the divine plan? Remember that? The divine plan. Long time ago, God made a divine plan, gave it a lot of thought, decided it was a good plan, put it into practice. And for billions and billions of years, the divine plan has been doing just fine. Now you come along and pray for something. Well, suppose the thing you want isn't in God's divine plan. What do you want to do? Change his plan? Just for you? Doesn't it seem a little arrogant? It's a divine plan. What's the use of being God if every rundown schmuck with a $2 prayer book can come along and fuck up your plan? And here's something else, another problem you might have. Suppose your prayers aren't answered. What do you say? Well, it's God's will. Thy will be done. Fine, but if it's God's will and he's going to do what he wants to anyway, why the fuck bother praying in the first place? Seems like a big waste of time to me.
it's true, man. I've never seen my father. My father wasn't that much of a prayer. I think my father, it was more in terms of like official and being formal because he was a pastor. But my mother, she does that all the time. And life hasn't always like worked out for her. You know, she's still trying to this day. But she's always like it's God's plan, it's God's will and shit like that. And I never, when I pray every day, like morning and evening, but I don't just ask for shit. Like I'm just like, hey man, you know, it's your world. I'm just living in it, and I pray my life is. That's what I pray for. I pray my life is worthwhile. I don't even ask for shit really. Like I don't. And I've been like that since I was young. Like people will be like, pray. You must pray for this. You must pray for that. I'm just like, what am I supposed to do, bro? He's not gonna do. He might consider like in terms of maybe I'm like going in the right direction, and he'll help me further in terms of my prayer if it's like aligned with his plan. But other than that, bro, I can't do shit. It's fucking God. He's gonna do whatever the fuck he wants. You understand what I'm saying?
Couldn't you just skip the praying part and go right to his will? It's all very confusing. So to get around a lot of this, I decided to worship the sun. But as I said, I don't pray to the sun. You know who I pray to? Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci. Two reasons. First of all, I think he's a good actor, okay? To me, that counts. Second, he looks like a guy who can get things done. Joe Pesci doesn't fuck around. Doesn't fuck around. In fact, Joe Pesci came through on a couple of things that God was having trouble with. For years, I asked God to do something about my noisy neighbor with the barking dog. Joe Pesci straightened that cocksucker out with one visit. It's amazing what you can accomplish with a simple baseball bat. So I've been praying to Joe for about a year now, and I noticed something. I noticed that all the prayers I used to offer to God and all the prayers I now offer to Joe Pesci are being answered at about the same 50% rate. Half the time I get what I want, half the time I don't. Same as God, 50-50. Same as the four-leaf clover and the horseshoe, the wishing well and the rabbit's foot. Same as the mojo man. Same as the voodoo lady who tells you your fortune by squeezing the goat's testicles. It's all the same, 50-50. So just pick your superstition, sit back, make a wish, and enjoy yourself. And for those of you who look to the Bible for moral lessons and literary qualities, I might suggest a couple of other stories for you. You might want to look at the Three Little Pigs. That's a good one. That's a nice, happy ending. I'm sure you'll like that. Then there's Little Red Riding Hood, although it does have that X-rated part where the big bad wolf actually eats the grandmother, which I didn't care for, by the way. And finally, I've often always drawn a great deal of moral comfort from Humpty Dumpty. The part I like the best, all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. That's because there is no Humpty Dumpty and there is no God. None, not one, no God, never was. In fact, I'm gonna put it this way. If there is a God, may he strike this audience dead. See, nothing happened. Nothing happened. Everybody's okay. All right? Tell you what. I'll raise the stakes a little bit. If there is a God, may he strike me dead. See? Nothing happened. Oh, wait, got a little cramp in my leg. My balls hurt. Plus, I'm blind. Oh, now I'm okay again. Must have been Joe Pesci, huh? God bless Joe Pesci. Thank you all very much. Joe Pesci. Thank you.
The camera timed out right at the right time, just as the thing was ending. Thank God, because I'd hate to have wasted that reaction. I don't like to do reactions. I like to do first-time reactions. I like for everything to be natural. But what can I say about this? Wait, in terms of even the ending part, in terms of like when he incited, okay, if God is real, let him strike this whole crowd down. It's sort of like the story in the Bible when I don't know which one was it, Elijah or Elisha. Like he did this test of like, God, if you are real, show these people you are real and that you mean business, and strike and like set fire to this and that, and then fire rain from the sky and set fire to, back then, etc. I don't know how real that is, but in terms of like the concept of how I've seen the Bible go, honestly speaking, if I can have an honest conversation with y'all, it's like in the beginning of creation, obviously, like us as like a new toy or a new invention or whatever, God was very invested. But then, if you honestly like go through the Bible and if you know like human nature, and even how even us like we can get tired of each other in terms of even like interacting with each other and doing the same thing over and over. It's sort of like Batman going through the streets of Gotham over and over again and like putting the Joker in jail, but Joker always breaks out and people are like, why don't you just kill the fucking Joker? And then in some timelines, Batman still kills the Joker, he kills some people, but like there's still no change and there's still crime and everything is still fucked up and there is no fucking paradise. So that's the same thing in the Bible, where in the beginning God, this foreign being, not of our earth or not of our world, but who created it in the first place with whatever advanced technology or advanced knowledge or advanced evolutionary state of power that he had. In terms of our belief, honestly, if you can look at it from a logical standpoint, because a lot of geniuses in history, they have believed in the concept of God. You know what I'm saying? And these are supposed to be people who, honestly, no matter how smart people like George Carlin are, they're smarter than him. You know what I'm saying? Like, way smarter. If you look at all this shit combined, and you even pay attention to the Bible from the beginning of when God was like, okay, don't do this, don't do that, we kept doing it, don't do this, and then to the point where it escalated to the highest points of evil. Then you get the thing with the flood, and then God does the flood thing. Then he says, I won't do it again, and then he decides to have more patience. But the patience literally runs for thousands of years of fucking patience, and we won't change. So all the things that he's done, parting the Red Sea, making fire rain from the sky and consume whole cities, making fire rain from the sky and like what you call strike wood that's damn full of water and set it on fire, the burning bush. Some people attribute that to even like what you call having a trip off of like mushrooms and shit like that. All that shit. If let's if there are any atheists out there, let's go into a world where we pretend God is real. Some people are atheists, some people are just agnostic. They I'm sort of agnostic in terms of like I believe God is real and I believe there is a being that did all of this, but I don't believe he's what like how humans simplify it in order to manipulate each other. So let's look at that whole timeline. Honestly speaking, if you look at that whole timeline, you just see a being that tried his best or her best or their best or whatever and just got sick of a fucking like species not fucking listening to basic fucking instructions, not even out of holiness or the goodness of something, but just like basic, don't do this because this will happen. We still did it. Now we have whole new diseases, we have whole new problems. We literally have the power to destroy our whole fucking planet and end our own existence, and we play with these things. We play with these toys, these weapons of mass destruction. We have dick measuring contests with them. We enslave each other. We do all this shit. We literally evolved to the point where when God was there, in terms of like this whole storyline of like mankind, however you want to put it, if this being or beings were there, in the beginning they tried, but in the end they were just like, fuck man, let's just see how it goes. You know, because like I gave the example of like parents and stuff when they're like, they tell the kid don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, and then the kid keeps doing this, and the kid keeps being this type of human being. The kid keeps being maybe a drug addict or a bully or whatever it is, to the point where you like, I love my kid but I disown my kid, or I just don't like my kid in that much, or I'm just sick and tired of talking to my kid. Let the kid do whatever the fuck they want. Let them shoot porn or like be porn stars, or let them do this, let them do that. Just I'm sick and tired. And literally, that's only within like maybe 2 decades of knowing one fucking human being. Now imagine dealing with fucking billions of human beings not listening to whatever the fuck you say. You'd give up on them too. That's been my that's been my reaction, honestly speaking. I don't want this to make this too long. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the post notifications. And I agree with I don't know what percentage of how much I agree with George Carlin, because honestly, no matter your belief system and like no matter how you want to look at this, there's some holes in what he said. Whether you want to get, I haven't gotten offended by what he said. I've truly looked at it. I've laughed at it. I've given my takes on it honestly, like a conversation. I haven't said, George Carlin, you wrong. You know what I'm saying? And I hope you take my opinions too. And that's been me. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the post notifications, and have this discussion below and give your opinions. But that's been my short opinion so far, however short it could be. You take care.